Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Housewife Historian, and you can call me Lindsay. We are talking Real Housewives of New Jersey today, guys. There's so much going on. If you are new here, I'm a New Jersey expertise. I'm going to be covering everything New Jersey. I can't help it. I love it so much. People want to say that I'm a tree hugger, Team Teresa. Personally, yes, I love Teresa. I am a tree hugger. I want her to win, 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 okay? But I have to give you guys all the facts, all of the information. Typically, when I do that, I leave my opinion out of it, okay? If I do start to trail from my opinion, I will say, this is my opinion. If I don't say that, then that means it's word on the curb. The word is, the gossip is, the juice is, the tea is. That means I'm speaking like rumors and things that I've heard on the streets from my sources, from other people, and it doesn't have anything to do with my opinion. So don't feel like because I might be reporting more on Teresa or more Melissa that I'm doing it because I love one more than the other. Like, it is natural for everyone to gravitate and love specific women for certain attributes, whatever it may be. And that's what makes the Bravo community, the Bravo family, all of us content creators, the subscribers, all of us, it's what makes us great, right? Because if we all loved and were rooting for the same people, would that really be any fun? And I don't think it would be. So guys, it's okay to not love the same housewives. It's okay to have a difference of opinion. As long as you're respectful in the comments, it's okay. That's what makes us amazing. So if you have anything you would like me to cover on, please comment it. I am happy to do so. But I just wanted to clear that up because you know what? The Gorgas are getting more bad press than they've ever gotten the entire time they've been on the Real Housewives in New Jersey. And for that, it doesn't mean that it's any content creator's fault or that I'm like loving Teresa and hating Melissa. It's just the reality of the situation right now. The Gorgas are getting a lot of bad press. So anyways, guys, we are here talking Real Housewives of New Jersey. I am going to be discussing the Namaste podcast that dropped today, only because Teresa Giudice did give us some tea on the upcoming season. We were wondering, like, is she going to be able to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey? Is she going to be able to keep up with her podcast when the New Jersey season's airing? That's what fans were most concerned of. And I think that we get a little bit of an answer to that in today's podcast. But let's go ahead and get started. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Definitely trying to grow over here, guys. So when you hit that like button, it helps get my video out to other people, new people that will subscribe, hopefully, if they like what they see and hear. Okay, let's get into the Namaste podcast. First of all, I want to tell you guys, because I really wasn't familiar with Melissa, who is doing the podcast with her. It's Teresa and Melissa. I wasn't familiar with Melissa. I had heard of the Side Piece podcast. They had done great interviews, of course, but I had never seen a face to the name. And I first started seeing Melissa show up around Teresa's like wedding time, and they started this podcast. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a touch on who she is, because you're gonna see her next season in the Real Housewives of New Jersey, because she's like Teresa's friend now. They do the podcast together, so that's a work adventure. Melissa lives in California, so therefore she, probably isn't in New York all the time, right? But when she is, it has typically to do with Teresa. So the cameras caught her several times, and we are going to talk about that, because even though she's not trying out to be a housewife, she is going to be somebody new to the cast that you guys may have never heard of or may have never met. And she does seem like she's pretty important in Teresa's life, not only as like a business perspective, because I think Teresa is one of those people, because of her old school values, like, she doesn't work with people that she doesn't know well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she can work with people she doesn't know, obviously, and keep a professional relationship. However, doing a podcast talking about your family, your husband, your new marriage, all this stuff, you have to have somewhat of a personal relationship to do that, because you want to be able to generate conversation, right? You want to have a good conversation that people want to listen to. And therefore, you have to have chemistry between two people hosting a podcast together, right? And so it seems to me, in my opinion, that likely Melissa and Teresa are probably very good friends in real life, especially when they're filming the podcast. That's just how business goes sometimes, because you've definitely got to keep up to date with everything that's going on so that you're getting your podcast episodes out. But anyways, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about her. So Melissa, her last name is Pfeister, but it's spelled with a P. I put in parentheses, nice Melissa. I know that's so terrible. I can't help it, but I want to let you guys know it's not Melissa Gorga. It's nice Melissa. And she actually is really nice. Okay. I like talking really today. I'm giving everyone compliments. I swear, I don't know what's going on. Something must be in the air, because I'm just giving compliments. I just did a video on all the other 3 new ladies. Well, mostly Danielle and Rachel. You guys should go check that out. It's uploading now. But Melissa Pfeister, she's a mom of 2. She lives in LA. And she's actually from freaking Ohio, which is like wild to me, because if you want to talk about a little small town girl making it big and moving to LA and having a podcast, 2 children, a husband, and a house and a life out there, guys, you don't hear that story very often, okay? Usually when you hear some sort of story about somebody making it, like getting out of their small ass town and making it to this sort of level, there's been some help, right? Usually there's like a rich uncle that lived in California that they went and lived with, or they had family money, or they had a trust, or, you know, they went out to LA and met Tom Girardi within 2 weeks, or Tom and Girardi alike, whatever the case may be. That's not the case with this lady. It really seems like she has worked hard. She has 2 kids. I think that anyone that works hard recognizes good work ethic, and recognizes that in other people, because this is a really kind of weird example, but I heard it on TikTok, so I'm going to share it with you guys. Like how people who have, you know, not easy lives, but maybe they didn't experience abuse or trauma or death, whatever the case may be, like they were looking through life in a clear rose-budded lens their whole life, right? And they can feel bad for the people that have had to look at life through a cracked lens or a dirty lens, whatever the case may be, but they don't really know what it's like to look through that lens. They just they can just have some empathy and feel like compassion for the people that can't see as good as them, right? But they can't necessarily like relate, okay? And so I think sometimes when you see if you have a good work ethic and you've had to work hard, you recognize that in other people more so than somebody who doesn't have that same work ethic. They're not going to, how would they recognize it in somebody else, because they don't even have it, sort of thing, if that makes sense. That was like the vibe I got from her. Like I said, she's so nice, and she's really great for Teresa. I think, like I said, their chemistry is really, really, really good. And Teresa's never given us such a, I don't want to say like a casual side to her, but more of a relaxed side, if you will, because it's only her and Melissa talking. So a lot of times we see Teresa on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, but there's lots of women talking, or it's her confessional. And we know the confessionals can be cut and put together, and a lot of times production makes things maybe not look the way they, it really happened. Okay. And we've heard about production telling the ladies what to say in their confessionals. But this time we're getting like an authentic, just casual, kikiing version of Teresa with Melissa. Nice Melissa. Loving that, okay? I think their podcast hits every Wednesday. You can find it on like all the places that have podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all that. And then I also post clips for you guys, because I understand that sometimes some of my subscribers aren't on all of the platforms, IG, Twitter, so I try to cover that stuff. And I do try to, post important clips for you guys. So a couple of things that I wanted to touch base with you guys on their latest podcast, because I think with each week it's going to get better and better. But especially because Melissa released that podcast with Marge, and there were like shots fired. But, Teresa really didn't respond. And, that's what she says. And that's what people like say all the time about Teresa, is that she really doesn't respond. And a lot of times who we're seeing in the headlines, making the headlines, that are saying Teresa this, Melissa this, they're coming from Melissa, allegedly. I mean, they're coming from her podcast too. Melissa doesn't have a steady podcast that like drops every single week. I don't think. It's kind of like whenever she is feeling froggy or she can get a good guest, maybe. I'm not sure. To me, in my opinion, it feels like Melissa's podcast is for her to like have an additional platform, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great when the ladies, especially like the OGs like Candy from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she is the Candy After Dark show. And sometimes after the season, after the reunion, she might address things that have happened throughout the season that editing, production, whatever the case may be, we missed it or we didn't get a real good understanding of what happened. And she'll go back and explain some of that. And sometimes she'll even have other housewives on the show. So it makes it really great because we don't want to have to listen to a podcast from every housewife every other week or every week. We want to hear from the OGs, obviously, no matter what, even if it's not in the season. We like to keep up to date with what they're doing. But it's nice too when they bring them on the show or they talk about it and really clear that up for us. And I kind of feel like this podcast is going to get Teresa. She'll be able to do that now because she's never really had an opportunity to speak on things that transpire and happen if it's not through Bravo or like a magazine. And it's so funny that I mentioned this, guys, because there was a People article. Basically what happened, allegedly, it looks like, is People article did a big spread on Teresa and Louis and their kids. I think it was just for Christmas, for the holiday, for ringing in the new year. Beautiful cover. I talked about it with you guys. And the kids, everyone looked amazing. I really said it kind of gave me like a old Hollywood mafia princess type of vibe. I loved the pictures. I thought they were amazing. Everything was great about it. Well, Teresa said in her podcast that, did you guys hear all these rumors about how Louis and Teresa they get it on like 4 times a day? And Teresa was quoted as saying, that if you don't get it on 4 times a day, then, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I love my husband, yada, yada, yada. Well, come to find out, this was completely taken out of context. So People runs the full article. They do the photos. It's beautiful. And then like a week later, maybe was it? I'm not sure. It comes out about Teresa as being quoted as saying like that her and Louis did it like 3 to 4 times a day. And if you don't do that, then you're not normal. And so everyone was kind of in a little bit of a stir because they were like, that's crazy. Who can do it 4 times a day? Who wants to do it 4 times a day? Like, I don't know what to say to that, right? Like, everyone was like, oh my God, like, what? And so Teresa really cleared it up for us because she said they were asking me about my honeymoon. And she's like, I'm just so honest. And I don't really have to think about always what I'm going to say because I'm honest. And I know that, whatever I'm saying is the truth. It's not going to change. So I don't have to think about it all the time. And she's like, and they were asking us about our honeymoon. And she's like, and we were, I think where did she say, Boca? I can't remember where she was at. Somewhere amazing. And basically all there is to do is like lay on the beach and lay in your room and like, that's your honeymoon. She's like, and that makes a lot more sense. Obviously 3 to 4 times a day on your honeymoon versus in real life didn't make sense. Doesn't that make a whole lot more sense? She was talking about the honeymoon. When they were on the honeymoon, they had an amazing time. And when she asked about, the life or whatever, that's what Teresa said. And of course they quoted her saying it, but taking it out of context. That's what happens sometimes when you do interviews. And so Melissa was kind of saying like, you have to like try to like be a little bit mindful when you speak and, you talk about this stuff because these people take it out of context. And Teresa was like, yeah, you're right. And she goes in and starts talking about how she's really been working on herself. And She said the audience is going to be really, she hopes, happy with her and surprised. She doesn't get triggered so easily. And she pointed this out a couple of months ago. And so I really do think that something has like clicked to calm her down a little or help her process when she's like angry. And this took me a while too, but she said she learned, I think it was from Louis' sister, because she works like this forgiveness program. It's an app, it's a whole sort of program. But is this someone pulling in my driveway? Sorry, that car was going so slow. I was like, the hell is that person driving my driveway? Anyways, so she doesn't always have to respond right away. She's like, you don't always have to have a response right away. Like, you can walk away, think about it, and then come back. And that way it saves you from saying things you didn't mean, saying things out of anger, yada, yada, yada. Like, it's okay to step away, calm down, and respond when you're ready, right? We don't normally see that from Teresa. Usually if she gets mad, we know she's mad. She's 0 to 100. She has a temper. She said that. She said, my dad had a temper. My dad used to flip table before. She's like, that's how I learned that. I learned when I was mad, I flipped a table because I seen my dad do it so many times because he had a bad temper. It makes sense. It really does, guys, when you think about it. Now, I also, how long am I? I'm like 16 minutes in so far, guys. I could go on and on about New Jersey and everything that we're going to see coming up this season. I cannot wait, but I don't want to give too much away either. So I'm going to stop there. I'm just going to encourage you guys to go check out their podcast yourselves. It's called Namaste, Bitches. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say bitches. But again, Teresa's working with her therapist. She's working with this forgiveness app. Oh, the last thing I wanted to tell you guys about the family, since we're talking about it. Anyways, Gabriella was accepted into like the 8th best business school in the country. Indiana? This cat. I told you guys that I got a stray cat. We've been taking care of it. And she's clawing everything to death. She even claws me to death. I don't know what to do about it. But anyways, Gabriella was accepted into the 8th best business school in the country. And Teresa, of course, posted the letter like a proud mother. And people were commenting like, oh no, Joe and Melissa are posting about Antonia getting accepted. I think she's going to Penn State. And now a week later, Teresa's tweeting and posting about Gabriella and getting into her college. And it's like, guys, they're children. Of course they're going to post on social media when they get accepted into college. That doesn't mean that they're competing with each other. Like, they're both getting acceptance letters into college. That's a big decision. I'm sure that Teresa posted it when Gia went to college, right? So let's not always like think that there is something there when there isn't, because that I really don't think is anything, because that's their kids. They really want each other's kids to do good. Just because they're like arguing right now, the parents aren't getting along, I don't think they really wish ill on each other's children, right? So I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think they're competing. And this is I'm gonna have to do it in a separate video, guys. I'm sorry, I just don't have time for this video. But if you liked my video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on, guys. It's so important. And make sure that you check out my channel. I just did a video on Danielle and Rachel, and then I'm going to do another separate video about possibly Jacqueline joining the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Ex-Wives Club and a blind item that went to Doxy. All right, guys, have a great day. Talk to you soon.